job or jobs or job interviews and you are not getting calls back, I'm going to talk to you about why that is. So I'm going to be talking about your resume. I'm also going to be talking about how to find thousands of jobs and apply to them in seconds on LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed.com. And then I'm going to talk to you about job interviewing. What is the job interview actually all about? And what is the job interview not about? And the big mistake that so many people make when it comes to, interviewing for jobs. You think it's about one thing and you go in the interview and you start talking to hiring managers and it's not about that, right? I'm going to tell you what the job interview is all about. And then finally, I'm going to talk to you about how to get $2,000 to $10,000 more from every written job offer that you get for any job. I do not care what it is. Any written job offer you get, you're going to be able to get $2,000 to $10,000 more. Okay. So what I want to do is start off with 5,000 likes. Just simply tap the screen to get to likes. And we're going to start right in and talk about resumes, what the resume is and what the resume is not about, so you can make sure that you're getting the attention of hiring managers and recruiters. Okay, so let's talk about resumes, right? The situation is you need a job or want to change jobs. You're in a job you hate, right? And you're ready to move to another job, right? How are you going to do that? You don't have a job. Maybe you were laid off and you want to get another job. How are you going to do that in the next 30 days successfully, right? How are you going to get a high paying job in the next 30 days? Well, everything starts with your resume, right? Your resume, a lot of people think the resume is a historical document that shows in chronological order your work experience, education, certifications, things like that. It used to be that. It's not that anymore, okay? You can be the most skilled person on the planet. You can be able to solve the biggest problem on the planet. In fact, I have a client who is number one in the US for his skill set in the federal government. And he has not been able to find a job for a year. And he came to me 3 weeks ago. And now we have getting him squared away. What's my point? You could be totally skilled and submit your resume to a hiring manager and still get a rejection letter. Well, if you could do the job and you apply to the job, why are you getting a rejection letter? Why are they telling you we decided to go with someone else or something else? Why are they doing that? I'm going to tell you why. It's because you are not showing the hiring manager what they want to see the moment they pick up your resume. That's the issue. Hiring managers think when they look at your resume and they compare it to the job description, they're wasting their time if they call you. So they're not going to do it. They're just not going to call you, right? Now, I'm going to tell you how I know this, but I'm going to tell you, you do the exact same thing when you look for jobs. When you are looking for a job, there are 4 things that you are interested in. And if the job posting does not have these 4 things, you will not apply to the job because you think you're wasting your time, right? There are 3 things every hiring manager is looking for, and you have to know that. And if your resume does not immediately show them that, right, you're not going to get hired. No one's going to interview you. And if you don't get interviews, you can't get offers. And if you don't get offers, you can't get high-paying jobs. That's it. So everything starts with your resume. Well, if your resume is not a list of your work experience in order, like what is it really all about? I want you to think about applying to jobs differently in 2026. Your resume is actually a marketing document. It's a tool that you use to market your skill, experience, education, and background as a solution to meet the need of a hiring manager. That's what your resume is. It's a marketing tool. Stop thinking about it like you are showing people your skill, experience, education, and background. That's on there already. But if it's not positioned like a marketing document that shows hiring managers you are the answer to their problem, no one will call you. I'm telling you the truth. Now, for those of you who don't know me, you might be passing by the first time. I'm in talent acquisition and have been in talent acquisition and recruiting for over 35 years. I've seen every imaginable scenario you could ever think of. And I'm going to tell you why I know this is the case, right? What I used to do when I was a senior call center rep 20 plus years ago, right? Senior call center recruiting rep in HR. And I would get a job description from a hiring manager and post the job, and you would send me your resume. I would do your interview and I would be blown away. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you are a perfect fit for this job. Based on what the hiring manager told me they wanted, based on the conversation I had with you, I would say you are a perfect fit. And then I would submit your resume, the one that you sent to me for the job. I would submit it to the hiring manager. And the hiring manager will be like, thanks, but I don't want to talk to that person. And I'm like, what? Like, what? What are you talking about? This person perfectly matches what you're looking for. Why are you rejecting them? Right? And they would tell me, well, Dan, I hear what you're saying, but I don't see it. Right? And then I would show them, this is what it is. This is what the deal is. And they would still say, nah, I don't want to talk to that person. Bring me someone who does or has the experience I'm looking for. So an HR director many years ago told me, if this is happening way too much, right? Ask the hiring manager, do a survey and ask the hiring manager what they're looking for. So I did. And they told me there's 3 things they want to see when they pick up a resume. 3. And when they told me, it made sense to me. And then I started looking back at the people's resumes and saying, oh, that's not clear. Right? So this is what I did. I started changing people's resume about 25 years ago. You would submit your resume to me. I would have a conversation with you, interview you, pre-screen you, talk about the job, see that you were a perfect fit. And then I would say this, okay, I'm going to submit you to this job, but before I do, I'm going to rework your resume. Okay, I need to rework your resume so it shows the hiring manager what they want to see. Because if I submit your resume like this, they're going to tell me they don't want to interview you. Before I submit it to the hiring manager, I'm going to send it back to you so you could take a look at it and tell me it's okay, right? So that's what I would do. I would rework your resume and then I would send it to you. We would have a conversation and I would say, okay, great. Is this good? You'd be like, yes, that's perfect. And then I would submit it to the hiring manager and they would get an interview. Listen, I went from 1 to 2 of every candidates, 1 to 2 out of every 10 candidates that I submitted to a hiring manager. I went from 2 out of 10 getting interviews to 8 out of 10 getting interviews when I changed how I actually did the resume. What's the difference? The difference is not you. You can still do the job. You're the same person. The difference was I was submitting the resume the way you sent it to me, and that's not what the hiring manager wanted to see. They thought they were going to be wasting their time, okay? So they did not want to see you. So I said, okay, well, I'm just going to give you what you want. You tell me that's what you want to see. I'm changing the resume. And I didn't tell them I was changing it. I would just change it. If you and I agreed, I would submit it. What my goal was to try to get you an interview so I can get you hired. And I've been doing that for 25 years, right? Because I was tired of hiring managers telling me no. To be honest with you, I thought they were rejecting me. I thought they were turning you away because they didn't like me, right? That's what I thought. And that's just the truth. It wasn't that. It was they didn't see what they wanted to see, so they thought they would be wasting their time doing a courtesy interview with you, even though I knew you can do the job. So you're the same way, right? When you apply to jobs, when you're thinking about applying to jobs, there's 4 things as a candidate you want to know about the job before you press apply, because you don't want to waste your time. Now, I learned this many years ago, writing newspaper ads to get people hired as a recruiter. I found out, and you told me this, right? 4 things you want to know when you see a job. You see a job and you say, okay, what is this job doing? That's what you would ask yourself. If it was not clear what you would be responsible for doing in the job, you are not going to apply. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing you wanted to know is, okay, I see what the job is doing. Where is this job located? Okay, where is it located? Because if it was too far from you, you weren't going to want to apply for it. You're like, I'm not driving that far for a job. I'm not doing that, right? Because you didn't want to waste your time. The third thing you want to know is, okay, I see it's close to me. I see what the job is doing. How much does this job pay? Right? Because you're like, I don't want to waste my time. And the last thing you want to know is, okay, if I apply for this job, I know what it's doing, I know where it's located, and I know what it pays. What are my chances for getting an interview and getting hired if I apply for it? And that speaks to how long has this job been open and how many jobs there are open. Let me tell you what I used to do when I was a customer service call center national recruiting manager. This is how I used to post positions. Let's say we had 20 open customer service rep jobs for the next training class. I would put in the title of the job posting, I would put 100 open customer service call center rep jobs available in this city, paying whatever the number is, right? Now, why did I do that? Because I knew if you saw this posting 7 days after I put it out, you would say to yourself, oh, it's 100 job openings. I know they still have openings. You would apply. And that's why I was able to hire so many people so fast, because we were getting so many applications from candidates. A call center that I had worked for, they had been open for 36 years, never had been fully staffed. It took me 9 months to do it, right? Because of what I just told you. Why? I know as a candidate, you don't want to waste your time applying to jobs that you don't think anybody's going to call you back on. Well, guess what? A hiring manager does not want to talk to you if they don't see what they want to see, because they think they're wasting their time. So what do they want to see? 3 things right off the bat before they say, yes, let's schedule this person for an interview. Number 1, so they have a job description. So they're asking themselves, okay, I see they applied to this job. What does this person do? Has to be clear, right? So in my case, I'm a senior talent acquisition and recruiting leader. That's what I do. I lead recruiting, recruiters, talent acquisition. Very clear, right? And you do the same thing. Whatever yours is, I'm a senior customer service call center rep, or I'm a senior CFO, or I am a director of accounting, or whatever you do, right? That's you. That's what you do. The next thing a hiring manager wants to know is, okay, how long has this person done it? In terms of years of experience. Here's why we want to know that. Every candidate falls into 3 categories: entry level, mid-level, or senior level. If you have 0 to 4 years experience, we consider you to be entry level, and that means to us, you will need to be trained. So we have to allocate the extra time to train you. We know that, okay? If you have 5 to 9 years experience, we know that you're mid-level. You have enough experience that you don't really have to be trained, but we still can't give you the whole department or hand over all of the work to you, because you still may need some tweaks, right? And if you are a senior level professional, 10 or more years doing the work, we know you don't need any training. We can give you the whole job and walk away and let you get to work doing what you do, right? So when you don't tell hiring managers how long you've been doing it, you're making them guess, and they're not going to guess. They're not. They're just not going to call you, right? That's what's happening. Now, what is the third thing they want to know? This is important. Now look at your resume, and I want you to think about what I'm about to tell you. The third thing they want to know is, they know what you do. They know how long you've done it. The next thing they want to know is, how good are you at doing it? Now, what do I mean by that? What are they looking for? They're looking for quantifiable evidence that shows proof of your value. Numbers, percentages, revenue generated, cost saved, number of words you type a minute, how many calls you take in the call center, what your average call time is, how many people you've managed, how many people you've recruited, how many people have you been able to get interviewed, like whatever that number is. When we look at your resume, we do not read the resume. We look for these numbers to show us proof of value. Generated $250 million a year, managed $1 billion in contracts, whatever that number is, that's what we want to see, right? Because if we don't see it, you're making us work too hard to figure it out, and nobody's going to call you. They're just not going to call you. So you're going to get a rejection letter a week later, 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, saying we decided to move on with somebody else. And you're going to be like, what? Nobody even called me. Yes, they're not going to call you. They're not going to call you. Hiring managers think they have more options because they have 200 people who have applied to the job. So they're not going to call you. So if you don't show hiring managers exactly what they want to see, no one will call you. There's 102 people in the room. I want us to tap the screen, each one of us, 60 times. It takes 15 seconds to tap the screen 60 times, and we'll be at 5,000 likes really quickly. And that just spreads it out throughout the entire platform to let everybody know that we're here helping people get jobs. Just tap the screen 60 times real quick. Okay, so what you do, how long you've done it, how good you are doing it. That is what I call your elevator pitch, and is what every hiring manager wants to know. Okay, so if you're submitting your resume for jobs, marketing yourself through the application process for jobs, and no one is calling you, your resume might be broken. So today, I'm gonna do 100 free resume reviews. If you want me to review your resume for free, I will tell you this is what you need to tweak, this is what you need to change. If it needs to be changed or tweaked, this is what you need to add, this is what you need to take away, so you can get more interviews, which lead to more jobs, okay? Because if you don't get interviews, you can't get more jobs. So I'll do a free resume review for the first 100 people who send me their resume. 100, okay? Send me your resume and I'll do a free review. Okay, so you show them what you do, how long you've done it, how good you are doing it. It's called your elevator pitch. Now, what do I mean by elevator pitch? Imagine you're in an elevator, you're going to the 15th floor of a company. Somebody steps onto the elevator, they don't know who you are, they see you going to the 15th floor, they say, oh, you're going to the 15th floor? Who are you going to see? And you say, well, I'm going to see Thomas. And the person says, oh, I'm Thomas. Are you the person that will be interviewing with me? And they say, yeah. You say, yes, I am. He says, okay, what do? You have to be able to, in 10 seconds, say, thanks for asking that question, Thomas. My name is Daniel. I'm a senior talent acquisition and recruiting leader. I have 35 years experience hiring 4,000 to 6,000 people a year from medium to large companies in the US like this one. That's what I do. And if you can't do that, if you can't say it like that, if your resume doesn't speak to that, you won't get a call. Now you can keep using the exact same resume that you have. Keep doing it. I can promise you, you will get the same results. Okay? It's going to keep happening. Nothing's going to change. You will keep getting rejection letters and you won't know why. I literally talked to a client who lives in Atlanta. Said, man, I'm just having so many challenges with jobs, right? And I explained, because your resume is broken, send it to me and let me fix it, right? Or this is what you need to add to it. This is what you need to do to fix it. No one knows anything about you and what you do from your resume. They have a specific problem they're trying to get solved, and your resume doesn't tell them how they're going to solve that problem. So they're not going to waste their time. Listen, they are not going to waste their time and call you, even though you may be supremely qualified to do the job. It's not going to happen. Okay, so what else are they looking for? Right underneath your name, phone number, email address, city, and state is that captivating headline, what you do, how long you've done it, how good you are doing it, quantifiable evidence, proof of value. Then there is a summary of accomplishments, 10 bullets that list your top 10 career highlights, the things you've done the best, quantifiable numbers, percentages. You know, revenue generated, cost savings, whatever, boxes thrown, trucks loaded, whatever that looks like, right? Size of the building in terms of square feet that you've managed, right? 10 bullets. And then right after that is your areas of expertise. And those are areas of expertise are defined as things you can do so well, you can do them with your eyes closed and your hands tied behind your back. Those things right there make a hiring manager say, stop, I'm going to call this person, right? I'm going to give you a little stat. 1 out of every 20 candidates who apply for a job, a hiring manager will stop and say, yes, I want to talk to that person. So for hiring managers, it could be exhausting having to go through all these resumes. So the way you make yourself stand out is you have to be able to show them what they want to see the moment they pick your resume up. Okay, so if you need a free resume review, I see you guys are sending your resume in. Alex, Derek, Abson, Anthony, Josh, Ashita. I see you guys are sending your resumes. I can take another 90 resumes. So 90 people, if you want me to review your resume for free, just email it to me. Daniel@dscds.com. Daniel@dscds.com. Lexi, thank you for the rose. Daniel@dscds.com. And I'll review your resume for free, and I'll tell you what's missing, what needs to be added, what needs to be fixed, if anything needs to be fixed. And then there'll be an option in there. If you want to do it, you can do it. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. If you want me to do it, there'll be an option there as well. M, thank you for the rose. I appreciate that. Check this out. So let's say you get your resume squared away. Now you got to start applying to jobs. I'm going to tell you the big mistake almost every candidate makes. Remember, when you have your resume, you're trying to market yourself to as many hiring managers as possible, right? That's what you should be doing. But if you don't have a lot of jobs to apply to, you're going to think ain't no jobs open. There are tens of thousands of jobs open right now on LinkedIn alone in your industry doing what you do with your skill set. The only reason why you don't think any jobs are open because you don't know how to search for jobs. I'm a recruiter. When we search for candidates a certain way, right? And I'm going to tell you why you are not finding jobs. I have a client who's on my fast track program, my 30-day fast track program, where I am the recruiter. They came to me and said, listen, man, I haven't been able to find a job for 8 months. Senior sales account manager, 30 years experience. Man, I can't find a job. Ain't no jobs open. So in our second call, 3 weeks ago, I said to him, his name is Ron. Okay, Ron, let's do a Zoom call. Before we get started, you are going to show me how you search for jobs. So that's what he did. So he typed in his previous job title. And I said, okay, don't type anything. Don't do anything else. Just click search. This is called an open search, right? He's searching LinkedIn for this job title. 5,400 jobs came back. Now, listen, 50% of those 500,000 jobs, they're already closed or filled. How do I know that? LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed.com will not close a position, take it off of their site. If it's not sponsored, they will not take it off their site for 30 to 60 days after the position has been filled. It stays up there. So you think the job is open, but it's closed. How do I know that? I manage the job boards, right? So they keep that job up there to keep candidates attracted to their social site or the job board site because they want more people on there, right? So 30 to 60 days, depending on the job board, after that job is closed, that's when LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, or Indeed.com will actually take it down from their site. But you're applying to the job and you think it's open. And you're like, ain't nobody calling me back. What's going on? Well, the job might be closed, right? Or you apply to the job and you get a quick reply. It's because the job is closed. Nobody's looking at your resume. You're not applying correctly. So we then started sorting it by, okay, you're senior director level. So we sorted it by that. You want to make this much in terms of pay. We sorted it by that. You're okay with working remote, hybrid, or local. We sorted it by that. And then we sorted it by easy apply or jobs that were within the last 30 days and then easy apply. We got down to like 18 jobs, right? So I said, oh, okay, that's why it doesn't seem like there's any jobs open. I said, okay, now we're going to search the way I normally search, okay? The way I train people to search, when I do interview prep, when I'm teaching people how to search for jobs, we're going to do it my way. Okay, so I say, let's go back to the search. You're gonna type in your job title. And I say, okay, now that you typed in that job title, I need you to take this word out and take that word out and this word out. Only leave this word, okay? So the only difference is he used a whole job title, I used a word. He clicked search, 440,000 jobs came up. He says, how did you do that? I said, your problem is you're searching wrong. And you're probably doing the exact same thing. He says, what do you mean? I said, you don't search for jobs based on your job title. You don't do that. You're going to get a very narrow search. You're telling LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed.com, only show me jobs with this job title. That's what you're telling it, right? So it's searching its site and trying to figure that out, and only a couple jobs come back. You're supposed to be searching for jobs by a single word job function. So I said, we are searching by sales. So we just told LinkedIn, show us every job that you have on your site that has sales in the job title or job description. 440,000 jobs came back. Okay, now 50% of those jobs are not open, they're closed. Many of those jobs are actually not at his level. Some of them are entry level, some of them are mid level. He's a senior level guy. Many of them are not going to be within his pay range. We sorted it by his pay range, location. We sorted it by all of that. And it went from and we did easy apply. Jobs within the last 30 days, and we did the easy apply button. We went from 440,000 jobs open to about 44,000 jobs that were open. And I said, this is a premium search for you, perfect for you. You don't even have to read job descriptions. You need to start applying to every job. So I said, what you're going to do is you're going to apply to 15 jobs right now. Okay? You're just going to easy apply to 15 jobs. Took him 5 minutes. Okay? And I said, you're going to do this on LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, and Indeed.com. You're going to apply to 30 jobs per day per site. That's 90 jobs a day, 7 days a week. That's 630 jobs. That's what you're going to apply to, right? This is what happened. We are in the beginning of week 4. First week he applied for jobs. I think he applied to 600. Nobody called him. Week 2, he had 4 interviews. Week 3, which was last week, he had 2 final interviews and got 2 offers. In 3 weeks, he had been trying to find a job for 8 months. But if you don't know how to search for a job, you're going to think there's nothing open. Right? Jobs are open. Resume is correct. His job is open. Got interviews. Now he got offers 3 weeks later. What's my point? You can't search for jobs by the job title. You have to search for jobs by the single word job function. So for me, that's recruiting. Right? For information technology, it could be IT or HR, sales, right? You have to understand how to search for jobs and use the job boards the right way. As a recruiter, when we are trying to find a candidate with a specific skill set, we search by the single word function on your resume. So if you're a sales professional, you're going to have sales on your resume. If you're a recruiting professional like me, you're going to have recruiting. It's going to be on there. If you're an accounting professional, you're going to have accounting. We know that. That's how we find so many candidates. And then we reach out to you with a text message or email and say, hey, we got this job open, apply for it, right? That's how we do it. But you don't do it because nobody tells you how to do that, right? Nobody says it, okay? So now that you got jobs, now that you've applied to a bunch of jobs, people are going to start calling you. And now you have to interview. And this is where so many candidates blow it. Why? Because you think the interview is about one thing and it's not. You think the job interview is about you getting the opportunity to prove to the hiring manager that you have the skill, experience, education, and background to do the job they want. And you get in that interview and you talk about your previous work experience and all of the jobs you've done and all of the great things you've done on your last job and the awards you won and blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares about that. That's not what we're interested in. Why? We already have your resume. We know how good you are. The fact that you are in the interview with the hiring manager tells me that they already know you can do the job. So I tell clients, never talk about your previous work experience. Ever. Don't talk about it, because we already know you can do it. When we ask you interview questions, we're not asking you questions to prove to us that you can do the job. We can see it. It's already right here. So stop talking about that, because that causes you to go down a rabbit hole. It makes you less interesting, and it doesn't show the hiring manager what they want to see. So the question is, okay, well then what is the interview really all about? What they want to see. What do they want to see? Okay. We know about you from your resume, but we don't know you. Now, I'm going to give you an example so you understand in a crystal clear way what the job interview is actually about, right? I want y'all to help me here. Imagine I come to your city and we decide, okay, we're going to have lunch, right? And all of a sudden I get a phone call and it's an emergency. And I say to you, I am so sorry. I just got an emergency call. Can I borrow your car? Type in the chat. What would your answer be? Yes, no, what? What would your answer be? Tell me. If I ask you to borrow your car, what would you say to me? Tell me. Yes or no? Right? Tell me. What would your answer be? No. Right? Bobby says no. Black says no. Shamik says no. Everybody says no, no, nope, nope. You can't help. This person said help. Black butterfly said hell no. You can't draw. You cannot borrow my car. Right? You can't borrow mine either. I'm not going to let you borrow my car. You need that car. It's important to you. You paid a lot of money for it. Why won't you let me borrow the car? Right? Here they're saying no. Sabrina says no. Why won't you let me borrow it? Why? Because you don't know me. You don't know me. You know about me. You see me on social media. You see me doing these trainings, but you don't know me. Guess what? That's what the interview is about. The hiring manager has the keys to this department. Okay? And they are trying to find someone to manage this department, do this job. They don't know you. So you're asking them, or you think that you're just going to tell them about your previous experience and they're going to be like, okay, that tells me what I need to know. You can have this job. No, it doesn't work like that. They're trying to find out who you are at your core, your professional character. You see, I have a driver's license. I've had a driver's license for a long time. But just because I have a driver's license doesn't mean you're going to trust me to drive your car. Because you don't know what I'm going to do with it. You don't know me. You have the experience. We see that. But just because you have the experience, it doesn't mean that automatically means you're going to do a good job for me, that you're going to take care of this responsibility that I'm about to give you. It doesn't mean that. So hiring managers ask you interview questions to try to find that out. And when you don't answer those interview questions correctly, you're out. And they're not going to tell you why. So what do they want to hear? What are they looking for? Okay. So the job interview is not about you telling them about your skill, experience, education, and background. Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Erica H. Shamika, Courtney. Thank you for sending your resume. If you want me to review your resume, I'll review your resume for free. Just email it to me. Daniel at dscds.com. Daniel at dscds.com. Daniel at dscds.com. So what is the interview all about? Okay. So there's three things the hiring manager is trying to find out about you. Okay. One, can I trust this person? Right? I need to know can I trust them? Can I depend on them? Right? And are they reliable? Okay. That's what they're trying to find out. And they're going to ask you interview questions to find out if you're trustworthy, reliable, or dependable. Okay? Now, there are three underlying things that the hiring manager wants to see with every question they ask you. So when they ask you something like, and tell me if you ever got this question before, type it in the chat, yes or no. First question out the gate, when you sit down, they're going to say, tell me about yourself. If you've gotten that question before in an interview, type yes in the chat. If you ever got that question, ever, tell me about yourself, right? If you got the question before. Look, yes, Anthony says yes. Minnie, yes. Christina, yes. Rika, yes. Lola, yes. Shawnee, yes. Yes. Miss Valencia, yes. Everybody, Black Drama, Gillette, yes. Leisha, yes. Everybody says yes. What are they asking you? Are they asking you to tell about your previous work experience? No. They're saying, I want to know who you are at yours. What are your 4 top professional character qualities that help me to know that you are a right fit for my team, right? So I tell my clients, make sure you write down 4 of your top professional character qualities. I'm honest. I'm loyal. I'm committed. I'm a total team player. I'm hardworking. Whatever your 4 character qualities are, you're going to write those 4 character qualities down, and then you're going to add to it, and I'm someone you'll never have to worry about whether this job is going to get done or not. So I tell hiring managers, I'm a hardworking, committed, loyal team player, and I value team success far above individual success, and I'm someone you'll never have to worry about whether the job gets done or not. That's what you need to know about me. Not about what I've done on my resume. I'm not regurgitating that. They see that. That's the only reason I'm sitting there, right? But that they want to find out about your character. Okay? The next question they're going to ask you is they're trying to see, first question is they want to see if you're focused, if you're a rambler, right? If you can concentrate and focus and clearly communicate. That's why they ask you, tell me about yourself. The second question they're going to ask you, because they're trying to see if you are risky, is they're going to say, and tell me if you ever got this question before. They're going to say, if you're working, because we can see on your resume, we're going to ask you, why are you looking to leave this job? Or if you're not working, why did you leave your last job? Right? If you ever got that question before, type yes in the comments. Type yes if you have. If you've ever been asked that question in an interview, type yes, right? Look, Liz, Christina, Simply, George, everybody, yes. Esther, yes. Rika, yes. Everybody saying yes. They asking me that question. Why are they asking it? Because they're trying to see if you are a risk. Like if you give a reason, a petty reason for why you're leaving your current job. Well, I want to leave my current job because I don't like the way my manager talks to me. You're not going to get this job. I promise you that. Right? You're too risky. They're not willing to take a chance on you. You left your last job. Let's say you were fired from your last job for low performance. Right? You don't tell them that. You're too risky. You simply say, I was laid off. That's it. I was laid off. How do you answer the question why you want to leave your current job? You say, well, listen, this company is great to work for, but my goals and values, they don't align with this company anymore. I believe they align more with this one. I've read your vision, mission, and core values. I believe they align more with this job. That's why I want to leave my current job, right? That doesn't sound risky at all, and hiring managers are accepting of that. That's what I tell every client to tell companies when they're getting ready to go into an interview. Tell them that, right? Now that we've been able to assess risk, the next question they're going to ask you is we're trying to figure out what's your underlying motivation. Like why do you want to work here? That's the next question. What is it about us that makes you want to work here? Or what do you know about us? We're trying to see what your underlying motivation, what is driving you to want to come here. If you say, because I need a job, you're out. Because I want to make money, because I want to advance my career, you're out. You're out. They don't care about you. So they're not interested in your personal endeavors yet. Okay? So they're trying to see what is your underlying reason, your motivation, what is driving you to want to do this job. So I tell clients, when they ask you, why do you want to work here? Well, I've done my research and you guys are the best and I want to work for the best. That's my motivation. Okay? You're the best and I want to work for the best. That's how you answer it 100% of the time. Okay? So that's how you're supposed to answer that question. You don't tell them all of the things that you want to do professionally. Oh, I want to grow. I want opportunity. Don't do that. Okay? Because they're going to think that your motivation is off. All right. And after they ask you 3 non-behavior based questions to assess your focus and communication, your trustworthiness, your underlying motivation, after they have done that, right? They are going to then ask you 3 behavior-based questions. Now, I'm going to tell you how to answer the behavior-based questions using STAR like no one else has ever told you. If you haven't listened to me before, you have never heard anybody say it like this because people don't teach it like this. But this is the way that stops you from going down a rabbit hole and becoming less interesting to the hiring manager. The reason why we ask behavior-based questions is because we want to know how you are going to act when the situation gets tough. So we ask you behavior-based questions about how you deal with challenging people. So that could be customers, clients, coworkers, or managers. We ask you how you deal with and overcome challenging problems that arise. And then we ask you how you're going to handle ever-changing processes, right? We're shifting things in the middle of the stream. How do you handle challenging people, processes, and problems, right? So they're going to say, talk to me about a time you had to deal with a difficult coworker. What was the situation and how did you respond? This is how you use the STAR interview answer framework to expertly answer that question. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. Situation, task, action, and result. You're going to say, this is what the situation was, and you'll explain the situation. Had a coworker working with me on a project, they were being difficult. This was the task. Our task was to work together to get the project done. Okay? And because they were being difficult, the action I took was to bring in management to bring us together because I needed to figure out why this person was not being cooperative. And the result was, once we got everything aired out, the person fell in line and we were able to deliver the project on time. You have to call out each acronym before you give a response, or you're going to be trying to search your brain library to figure out what you're supposed to be saying, and it causes you to ramble and go down a rabbit hole, and the more you talk, the less interesting you are to hiring managers. Okay? So if you don't interview like that, you're going to have issues. If you're a leader, they're going to ask you about 2 additional questions. Okay? If you want me to review your resume for free, I'll review your resume for free. I can take another 66 people. 66 people. If you send me your resume, you want me to review your resume for free, I'll respond today. I'm going to respond today. I'll tell you what needs to be fixed, what needs to be corrected. I'll tell you exactly what's missing, what needs to be added. I'll tell you that. Okay? So Cheryl, Nikita, Shamika, Erica, Dante, Warren, I see you guys have sent your resume. So thank you very much. Email me a copy of a resume. I'll respond today and tell you what needs to be fixed. Okay, so after they ask you these interview questions, hiring managers are usually going to start talking to you about, before we go into that, if you're a leader, there's 2 additional questions they're going to ask you. Okay? I had a coaching session with a pharmacist, a senior director who is a pharmacist. And we talked about this. By the way, she answered the questions perfectly. If you're watching, you answered them perfectly. And she's a hiring manager. She says, I know these answers because I'm a hiring manager. You're right. What you're telling us is correct. So, leadership questions. First one they're going to ask you is, what is your leadership style? What is your leadership style? Don't get fancy, okay? Don't try to give them some fancy evaluation. Don't do that. I always say accountability is my style. I hold myself accountable and to a high standard. I hold my team accountable and to a high standard. Accountability is what I'm known for, okay? The second thing they're going to ask you is this. What would you do if you have a team member on your team who is constantly underperforming? How do you handle it? Okay? There's only one answer to give here. Don't get fancy. Don't go back into your archives and talk about how you helped Bob and Jim and Scott to improve their performance. That's not what they're asking. They want to know what you're going to do if it doesn't improve. And you simply say, I will follow the progressive disciplinary policy of the company. I am going to follow the progressive disciplinary policy of the company. That's it. So I'm going to give a verbal counseling if this is the policy. Verbal counseling. Second is going to be a written coaching and counseling. Third and final, coaching and counseling, termination. Okay, that's how you answer that question. Now, after they answer these questions, Brilliance, I see your resume. Diana, I see your resume. Cheryl, I see your resume. Thank you guys for sending it. If you want me to review your resume for free, I'll review it for free and tell you what needs to be fixed. Now, after they ask you these interview questions, they're going to start talking to you about all of the challenges they have in this position. I'm going to warn you, do not relate your previous experience and the problems you've solved before to and compare them to the problems that these hiring managers are telling you about. Really, all they want you to do is listen. They don't want you to talk about how you're going to solve the problem right there in the interview. They just want you to listen. So you just simply say, I understand that. I experienced that in the past. I'll make sure it doesn't happen here. Oh, that sounds very familiar. I experienced that before. I'm going to make sure that that doesn't happen here. That's how you answer while they're telling you this. They feel like you're being connected and you're understanding them. Okay, you're getting closer and closer to an offer. Now, after they tell you all of that, they're going to ask you this question. Type in the chat if you've ever gotten this question. At the end of the interview, they're going to say, well, that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? Tell me if you've ever gotten that in an interview. Yes or no, right? Have they ever asked you, do you have any questions for me, right? Because everybody does that. Yes, Christina, yes. Patrice, yes. Charlotte, yes. Everybody's saying yes. Anthony says I get it all the time. Listen, why are they asking that question? It's not because they want you to ask questions. They don't want you to, listen to me. That is so funny to me. We don't want you to ask questions. Yes, I know that's a bold statement. You're trying to show people that you are prepared and you're interested in a job, so you start asking all these questions and they don't know the answer to it. They start liking you less. There's nothing you should know, need to know about the company before you go to the interview. You should already know that. You can research it. It's on the internet, right? So don't ask the hiring manager, what is the biggest problem that keeps you up at night? How long will I be before promotions happen? What does success look like in the next 30 days, right? You don't want to ask those questions. They're not prepared to answer any of those questions for you. So you become less likable. And sometimes you become intimidating because of the complexity of the question that you ask that they may not be able to answer. There is one question that you should ask and only one. And you should never ask any other question but this one. You should say at the end when they say, that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? You should say this. Thank you so much. I learned so much about this job from this interview. I do have one question. When would you like for me to get started doing this job? That's the only question you should ask. I'm going to tell you why. That's the only question. When would you like for me to get started? The reason why you should ask that question, because you need to know if the hiring manager wants to make you an offer. And their response will tell you if they want to make you an offer. If they say, well, we do have several other candidates that we need to interview, and once we have finished those interviews, then we will make a decision about who we want to get started. Have you ever heard that before in an interview? Tell me, type in the chat. Yes, I've heard that before. Yeah, we do have several candidates to interview after we interview everybody. Yeah, David says yes. Listen, Cedric says yes. Right? Tanya, yes. Black, yes. Let me tell you why they're telling you that, Liz. Let me tell you. They don't want to make you an offer. They don't like you. So don't waste your time. There's nothing you can say to make them change their mind. The reason why you ask that question is because you need to know if they are planning to make you an offer. Don't go away from an interview thinking, I crushed it, only to get a rejection letter 3 days later. Or a recruiter like me calling you and saying, hey, unfortunately, they decided to go with someone else. Okay? If they respond like this, then you know, like there's a 99.99% chance they're going to make you an offer. If they say, oh, okay, here's what the next steps are. I'm going to get your information to human resources, talent acquisition. Somebody's going to call you, get you to finish the application. We're going to do your background check. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. We have our onboarding and we want to have somebody start by April 1st. If they tell you that, they're planning to make you an offer. You can walk out of there with your chest open, your head held high, because they're going to make you an offer. They like you. Okay, they believe you are a fit. Honey Dip, thank you so much for the roses, for the goats, 19, 21 goats. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So that's how you know they want to make you an offer. You should never leave a job interview without knowing with great certainty they are going to be making you an offer. It keeps you in control. Okay, now that you know an offer is coming your way, hiring manager runs to my office and says, Daniel, thank you so much for introducing me to this person. They were awesome. I want to make them an offer. Now it's time for you to get paid. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get $2,000 to $10,000 more from the written offer you are about to get. Why do I know this? I do this for every candidate at the job I work at, every single one. I do the same thing I'm going to tell you you could do. You're going to send one simple email and you're going to get $2,000 to $10,000. A hiring manager is going to be happy to give you $2,000 to $10,000 more. Okay? So whenever I introduce you as a candidate to a hiring manager, I tell them this is what they want to make in terms of pay, because you and I talk about it, right? Let's say the pay is $90,000 to $100,000, just to keep the math simple. I will submit you at 95. I'm not submitting you at more. I don't care who you are. I'm going to tell you 95 is what we're going to pay you, right? 95 is the number. Is that okay? That gets your foot in the door. 95, right? You're going to be like, yes, 95 is perfect. Great. So when the hiring manager comes back and says to me, yes, I want to make them an offer, I then call you and say, hey, how was the interview? You say, great. Say, awesome. If we made you an offer, are you ready to accept? You would say, yes. I would say, great. Now, I told you when we talked about 95. If we were to get you 98, would you accept it? Of course, you're going to say yes, right? Because it's $3,000 more than you expected. Yes, you're going to say yes. So then I reach out to the hiring manager and say, hey, I know we originally talked, it was 95, but are we able to go to 98? Now, 99.9% of the time, a hiring manager says yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, if they can make a decision on the spot, they would say, yes, 98 is fine. Why? Because it's less than the max. But most of the time, they have to talk to their manager. So they'll go to a director or VP and say, hey, just interviewed this sharp person, think they'll be a perfect fit for the team. They want 98. Can we do that? That director or that VP will say, do you think they're worth it? And if they say yes, they come back to me, say, yep, 98 is good. I call you and say, hey, you're in 98. If I send you this offer right now, will you sign it right now and send it back to me? And you say yes. It's a win-win for everybody, right? I got a hire, you got a job, hiring manager got what they want. Everyone got what they want. It's a win-win-win situation. How do you create an email that does the exact same thing? I'm going to tell you. Christina, CJ, India, Rosario, Hernandez, Mr. Luis Hernandez, perfectly cute, Diamond. I see your resumes. Perfectly cut, Diamond. I'm sorry. I see your resumes. I can take another 52 people. That's it. I can't take any more. 52 people. You want me to review your resume? I'll review your resume for free today, and I'll tell you if it needs to be fixed. So you can get more job interviews, right? Which lead to more job offers and high-paying job offers if you do exactly what I'm telling you. So how can you get more money from an offer guaranteed, and why does it work? Okay, here's what you do. So when you get a written offer, we always say in talent acquisition, you got 3 days to accept or reject. 3. Day one starts from whenever I send you that offer. So what are you going to do? You're going to sit on that offer for 24 hours. You're not going to do anything. I don't care if it's the most money you've ever made in your life. You are not going to respond immediately. You're going to wait 24 hours. The next day, you're going to send this email. It's going to say, thank you very much for this offer. I am very excited to get started on the team. I was wondering if the company is able to go to 98,000. Thank you very much. I can't wait to get started. That's the email you're going to send. When that email comes back, it's coming back to me, and I'm going to talk to the hiring manager, or it goes directly to the hiring manager. Now, why would the hiring manager say yes? Listen very closely. When a hiring manager interviews you and they select you, they are vested emotionally and mentally in you. They have an investment. They're like, oh, this is my person. Yes, I finally found somebody who's going to take this pressure off me, right? Now, they know if they say no to you, they have to go back through the process all over again to try to find someone else as good as you. That's why they say yes. And $1 more per hour in your salary it costs the company $2,100 a year. $2 extra, $4,200 a year. $3 extra per hour is $6,300 per year. I got $10,000 over the posted amount for my job. Okay? So that's the email you send so you can get them to give you the additional $2,000 to $10,000 per year. Average 2 to 5% more than what the salary is. That's what you ask for. And you always ask for that. We expect it. Okay, so what do we cover today? I'm going to open it up right now for questions and answers. You can ask me any question you want. I don't care. I'll read your question and I will answer it. So we talked about resumes. You need a job, resumes. What the resume is all about, what the resume is not about. Okay? You got to make sure you show the hiring manager what they want to see, not just what you want to show them. We talked about job searching. You don't search for job based on your job title. You search for jobs based on your single function keyword, sales, recruiting, whatever that is. That's what you do. We talked about job interviewing. In the 6 to 8 questions, every hiring manager will ask you why they ask it and how to answer those questions. We talked about what the job interview is really all about and what it's not about. You don't talk about your previous experience. We already know that. We have your resume. And then we talked about when you get job offers, how you can get $2,000 to $10,000 more from every single job offer you get. Now, listen, the reason why most people don't succeed in life, it's not because they lack the information. It's because they fail to act, do something about it. Like I just gave you the unlock. The question is, are you going to use it? Right? I'll shout it from the rooftop and keep telling you. And if you don't use it, nothing's going to happen in your career. You're going to continue to be frustrated. So now that you have the information, you need to act on that information. And if you don't act on the information, nothing will change. I can promise you, if you do, just like people who are in my fast track program, if you act on that information, you will get results and it'll change your entire life. Okay? So remember, Tamira, thank you. Holden, thank you. Venzia, thank you. Christina, thank you guys for sending your resume. I can take another 30 resumes, 30. So if you want me to review your resume for free, just email me a copy of your resume and I will reply today and tell you what needs to be fixed, what needs to be changed or corrected so you can get more job interviews. So I'm going to answer. So Rika says, how much will you charge to rewrite a resume? Rika, what if your resume doesn't need to be rewritten? And the question is, what are you willing to pay if somebody was able to get you an additional $5,000, $6,000 for work? I can tell you this, if we do your resume, it's less than $100, right? But if you use the resumes that we create, and you don't have to do that, that's up to you, you're going to get an additional $5,000 or more per per job in the story. That's it, right? What site do we look for a job? LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Indeed.com. LinkedIn has 65% of all jobs posted. Right now, there's 5.4 million jobs posted on LinkedIn. 5.4 million jobs posted. Half of those are closed. So just hypothetically, 2.7 million jobs that are open right now on LinkedIn that have been posted within the last 30 days. All right. So LinkedIn is number one. Indeed.com is number two, and ZipRecruiter is number three. Those three job sites have about 95% of the job open market. You should be on all of those sites. That's where you apply for jobs. Okay. Earlier today, you mentioned searching for one word. What is that? Why is that relevant? Yes, you use one word, the main function of your work, to search for jobs, because that maximizes the search. Like if I search for recruiting, that's the function of my job. Even though I am director, VP level, if I search for recruiting, that is in every single job where recruiting is the function. So it's going to return thousands and thousands of jobs back to me. Then I can sort that by my level of expertise, how much money I want to make, where I want to work, remote, hybrid, or on site. I can sort about all of that to break it down even more. But you don't start the search with your previous job title, because all these companies might not call it that, right? You got to make sure you understand that. What about promotions? If a position opened up, is it something I should mention to upper management? I don't know what you're asking me. The question is, should you apply to jobs if you are looking to get promoted, or are you trying to get promoted? I don't know what you're asking, HAWA. Please clarify. Does this strategy work for internal promotions? Yes. Now, internal promotions are slightly different. You have an outgoing manager and an incoming manager, both in the same organization, and they may know each other. So it's a little bit more sticky. If you want me to help you with that, send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to schedule a one-on-one with you so we can talk about it. In fact, I have a client on my fast track program who had it was yesterday. He had an internal promotion interview yesterday. We had a one-on-one coaching session the day before yesterday, Sunday. I took out some time and had a conversation with him. I explained to him everything that was going on, why they were going to be asking the questions, and he ended up having an interview today, and he believes he's going to get this job. I do too. Okay? How do you write a good cover letter for a position that you're applying for? Okay? A cover letter is really like an intro letter, right? It's that nice dress before you walk into the room. It speaks before you get there. But cover letters should be sent prior to a hiring manager interview and not with the resume when you apply for the job, okay? So you can customize it that way. If you need help with that, just send me an email. I'll be more than happy to help with that as well. Marcus, I'm a general superintendent in construction. Can I apply for a superintendent? Both, but not in construction. Yes, superintendent is the function. Construction is the industry, right? You're a superintendent, right? And I've hired one of the top construction superintendents in New York. I've helped him get a job, okay? So yes, you can do it that way. I sent you my resume a week ago. How long is the turnaround? Lioness, if you sent your resume to me and I didn't respond to it within 24 hours, it's because I never got it, okay? So email it to daniel@dscds.com. The turnaround time, it will be done today. I will respond to your email today and let you know exactly what I see. All right. So interviewing tips to get more money for a job is what we're talking about. If you have a question, I'm still waiting on a free resume review from yesterday. Alyssa, if I didn't respond, I've already responded to everybody's resume, okay? If you have not gotten a response, it is because you either got it and it went to your junk mail, or I have not received it. So resend it, daniel@dscds.com. daniel@dscds.com. Okay? Can you send me a resume template to go by? No, I will not send you a resume template to go by. I just told you exactly how to create the resume. So I'm going to say it again. First name, last name, phone number, email address. Then there's a summary of accomplishments. Then there's a captivating headline, what you do, how long you've done it, how good you are doing it. Then there is a summary of accomplishments, 10 bullets that outline your top 10 highlights from your career. Then your areas of expertise, 10 bullets with respect to things you can do with your eyes closed and your hands tied behind your back, those things you can do well. Then your work history, then your education, then your certifications, and anything else. That's how your resume should be formatted. And it should be simple so it can easily upload into job board applicant tracking systems easily. All right. Did I need to resend my resume? I just sent it. Who is this? Let me see. Patrice. I'm looking at my email and I don't see it. Hopefully it'll come through here shortly. Daniel@dscds.com. Alyssa, if you sent it already, I'm sure that I have it. Christy said, thank you. Letitia says, did you get my resume? I emailed it to you. I think I saw your name come through as well. Here's the deal. If you want me to review your resume for free, and I could take another 20 people who want to email me a copy of their resume, I'll review it for free. Shanna, free. I'll review it for free and tell you what needs to be tweaked, fixed. The goal is for you to get more interviews, because if you can get more interviews, you can get more job offers. If you can't get interviews, if a hiring manager doesn't see what they want to see, if you can't get interviews, you're not going to get offers. Everything starts with the resume. You must market yourself through the resume. If a hiring manager doesn't see what they want to see, they believe they're wasting their time, so they're not going to call you. Thank you guys so much for joining the live on all of the platforms. Please join me again tomorrow for the live. If you have questions after this, send me a DM. I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon.